number 9 is about perpendicular bisectors, and I have a guest here. Say your name.
Gustavo Casemiro.
And he's going to read us the definition. What's the definition of a perpendicular bisector?
A segment that passes through the midpoint of a side at a right angle.
Perfect. So the two important things, guys, is that it's a midpoint. So from that, we're going to have some tick marks. Gus thinks he's going to get famous. And it happens at a right angle, so at 90 degrees, which you'll see with the box, okay? So in each of these segments below, AM is a perpendicular bisector. So if we look at this segment AM, we can see that it's doing two things. We can see that A is the midpoint, so I have the tick marks, and that it's crossing at a 90-degree angle at A, okay? Now notice here, everything is happening to that segment BU. So this is going to be a perpendicular bisector of BU, okay? Let's look at the second example. AM is a perpendicular bisector. I don't have tick marks in this picture, but I do know that 12 is congruent to 12, so I can put in the tick marks. And I do have the 90-degree angle, so I know that it's intersecting at a 90-degree angle. Well, what segment is all of this happening to? That's happening to ST. So this is a perpendicular bisector of ST, okay? So now let's draw. In example 1, it's saying draw the perpendicular bisector of RQ, label with appropriate tick marks. So that means I know that everything has to happen to this segment RQ. And remember, there are two things that you need. You need the tick marks, and you need the 90-degree angle. Okay? So I'm going to draw a segment that almost like makes a T through that red line, so that I know that it's at 90 degrees. So my segment's going to look like this, and it makes a letter T if you turn your paper a little bit. The two things that I know are the tick marks and the 90-degree angle. Alright, so example 2, now we're going to solve some algebra problem with the geometry. So UX is a perpendicular bisector. Remember, the very first thing we want to do is draw and mark up our diagram, and then we can set up equations to solve for X and Y. So let's mark knowing that it's a perpendicular bisector. That means that UX, this segment here, is crossing through the midpoint at tick marks and at a 90-degree angle. And now let's label this in our picture. So angle UXP, that's right here. That means that that angle is 6x plus 30, okay? And then I told you that PX is 2y minus 10, so that's right here, 2y, plus 10. And then XR is 6y minus 30, that's this segment here, okay? So now let's solve for X. If I'm looking at this, this is my expression with X. That's representing this angle down here, which we know also has to be 90. Both sides of those, 90 plus 90, will be 180, okay? So I can set up the equation. 6x plus 30 is going to equal 90, and we can solve. Subtract 30 from both sides. 6x equals 60. Divide by 6, and x is going to get us 10. Okay? Now let's solve for y. My two expressions for y are here in green. And what do we know about those two expressions? We know that we have tick marks, which means they're congruent. So we can set these two expressions equal. I can say 2y plus 10 equals 6y minus 30, and we can solve. Let's bring the 2y's and the 6y's together. 10 equals 4y minus 30, add 30, 40 equals 4y, divide by 4, so y equals 10, okay? So the two equations that you are going to see, or the two types of equations for a perpendicular bisector, are something, right, my angle can equal 90, so some expression is going to equal 90, and my sides, where it's intersecting at its midpoint, are equaling each other. So those are the types of equations that I can set up. All right? Now you're ready to go try your homework or go practice in class, and have a good day.